Māori children made up the majority of those in state care, with the inquiry finding they were also more likely to be sent to harsher institutions. Māori and Pacific survivors also endured higher levels of physical abuse, breaching the Treaty of Waitangi and giving rise to gang membership. Political editor Mikey Sherman reports.
This is the part that Luxon's missing right now. Not wanting to talk to the Harry Tams of the world, cracking down on, locking people up, cracking down on gangs. Until you address this part of the equation, there's going to be no solution.
The rise of gangs in New Zealand between the 1950s and 1980s can be traced back to state care abuse, which many survivors say was a pipeline to prison.
When I went into the prison the first time, I'd never been there before. But we get into the yards and 80% of the people is because we all grew up together and we were brought up together in state care.
Rawiri Waretini Karena isn't a gang member, but having entered state care at the age of 5, by 17 he was convicted of murder.
I take full responsibility of my actions, but there were things that happened in state care which also contributed to the environment that I was brought up in.
The Commission found between the 1950s and 80s, Māori experienced heightened state surveillance and targeting by New Zealand police and other government agencies.
We are determined that gangs cannot peddle harm and suffering on their fellow citizens. We will continue to work with making sure that they have an opportunity to turn their lives around through rehabilitation.
So that's the part that he will get the brick back again. So it's like, if you cannot see that the exact inquiry you're going through today and apologising for has a direct link, if not is the direct reason for the issues that you're seeing with gangs today, Mr. Luxon, then there's no helping you. Then you are not a person of outcomes. You're a person of meanness and retribution and all sorts of other words for putting the knee on the neck of people, but you're not looking for the best outcome because you're not using the best, you're not taking the best path to get to those outcomes. Sorry, this has got about 60 seconds, guys. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Māori children are still overrepresented in care today.
I believe it's 67% of young people in care are Māori.
Ihorangi Reweti Peters came out of state care in October.
Abuse did not stop at 1999. It is still happening.
Is there work that needs to be done? Yes. And I set those expectations.
The Minister says greater devolution to community is the solution, but with continued state oversight.
I think it's actually disgusting that my job does have to exist.
Erica Stanford spoke of the young unwed pregnant mothers in care.
That were deliberately underfed because they wanted to have easy births and small babies. And then they drugged them up and they took their babies. They never got to hold them. That is confronting.
Stripped of their culture and care, Māori have intergenerational scars.
It disconnects you from your language, from your culture, from your heritage. It disconnects you from the land of the whenua.
Rawiri now holds a PhD and works as a tertiary lecturer, a rare triumph in a tale of sorrow.
Yeah.
Matthew.
I mean, look, guys, I've sat down with each one of those people that were interviewed by TVNZ in that piece. Ihorangi Reweti Peters is an outstanding young man, and Rawiri was one of the first in a group of people that I met. I think, to be honest, look, I'm not going to say that gangs are good. They're not. But in all the gang members that I sat down with, I remember Johnny Apatu and Rex Timu in the Hawke's Bay, Martin Kaipo, a former gang president up in Whangarei, in Otangarei, and you sit down with these people and they're just like your father. They're just like your dad. They've just had a shit life. But each one of them was in search of something that they were taken away from. And in many ways, gangs have been created as a result of that missing link being whānau and family. And so that you search for something to attach yourself to. And that was the story that I heard writ large. And so when, you've got a double narrative going on here, you've got a narrative saying, oh, we'll fix this. I'm from middle management. I'm going to sort this out. Everyone's going to move forward together. Kumbaya. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Because the second narrative is this. We're going to bust those gangs and we're going to send them all to prison and we're going to lock them all up and throw away their key and bugger this and bugger that. Well, okay, so what are we doing to change to circuit break the whole thing? We're not. But just reverting to form. And the other thing too, compensation is not going to resolve the issue of people over multiple generations being ripped from their families. You know, the number of children in state care that were Māori when I was there was 67%. That was in 2022. 2021, 2022. Ihurangi is absolutely right. And if in the last government they had been able to get their extension as a Royal Commission, I think they were seeking more funding, then they could have picked up a whole lot of other people from 1999 to 2021, 22. Whether or not New Zealand is ready for the Band-Aid to be ripped back off not only our past but our present, I'm not too sure. But certainly that abuse has not stopped. All you have to do is have a look at the reports coming out of the Independent Children's Monitor to know what's been going on recently.